What's up, YouTube? It's been a long time since I made a video. I don't really want to bore you guys with all the crazy details and everything that happened, but I'll just kind of explain things. As you guys know, I was going to end up going with a set of ARP studs for my Evo. If you go back and look at my past videos, you'll hear about that. And the community of KAT guys usually go with a time cert in the block with these 11mm studs from an Evo. And so I ended up machining my block, got everything put together, and I kept pulling time certs out of the block over and over. And I had it fixed once, and it still didn't work. And through several different phone calls from different people on KAT.org, they were just talking about little things had to be done a certain way. My time certs were actually machined and put in flush with the block instead of counterboard, which causes the water jackets to crack and also doesn't, for some reason, doesn't help the stud when it's that high up against the deck. Anyway, whatever it was, I never really liked that idea. I didn't like the way that it looked, and not even really the way it looked, because that doesn't really matter as much, but just the application. It just, to me, it just seemed like time certs are not really a permanent fix, as much as it's just a solution to fix a problem. I don't really think the head stud should be under a boosted engine relying on a time cert. So anyway, with that, I ended up spending some more time calling around, and a guy named Mike that I found on Drag 240s on Facebook, who's actually a friend of a friend with the guys at Ventura Racing. Now, if you know anything about Ventura Racing, they have one of the highest horsepower single cam KAs in the world. So after talking to him, he has a dual cam. Mike has a dual cam. And we spoke, and basically what these guys were doing, we're going to GTR studs out of an RB26. So basically what ends up happening is the factory KA head studs are 10mm by 1.5. And when you go to 1mm, you can't, there's not enough meat there for threads. But if you go 2mm, it's big enough for threads. So I had my cousin, shout out to him, at SplatOwl on Instagram. He's got a pretty sweet Z if you guys want to look at that. But anyway, he put it on a vertical mill and basically counterboard and tapped it to 12mm by 1.5. There's enough meat there, and it did a phenomenal job. So we're putting RB26 head studs in now. They're ARP 2000s. But because they are bigger in diameter, they are stronger. The foot-pound, the torque foot-pound goes to 105. That's more than even the Evos were. And I know a lot of guys, the RB head studs are, I mean, those guys are running 700 horsepower plus on those studs before they have to get in touch with somebody like Rips or some of the big RB people in Australia, things like that. But anyway, so we are putting the bottom end back together and hopefully get the top end back together this time. I just want to kind of give you guys an update and tell you what we're doing. Just to kind of show you guys really quick, I will let you check out the block and see what I'm talking about. Alright guys, so here's the block. Just got it painted and everything's good there. The deck's nice and clean. But you guys can see here, hopefully, in the light, the factory head studs are counterbored into the block about a 1/4 inch or so from the factory. So basically, my cousin ended up counterboring these and then tapping them to 12 by 1.5. And I mean, as you can see, those are nice threads in there, just like it would have been done from the factory. And it was done on a vertical mill, so they are straight as you can get it. But anyway, this should help with not ripping the threads out and get a better bite on the block. It's been bored 20 over. You guys know all that. Machine work and everything's been done. The crank that I got out of this block is way better than the one that I had before. Not that the one I had before was bad, but this engine actually I picked up for 50 bucks from a guy that had it in a truck. Guys, there was no rust inside the water jackets. The bearings were factory. Everything was factory. But man, there was no wear on the engine. The piston skirts were super clean. No scratches on the walls. I don't know how many miles this thing had on it, but I dare to say it was probably like 80 to 100,000 miles. It wasn't a ton, but it was well taken care of. So it's always nice whenever you know you're not going to run into any other issues. So anyway, we got that. I am going to take the piston rings off, and bearings and all that will be clean, and basically just measure my gaps just to double check. My machinist does a really good job with that. And shout out to them, Adam at Kannapolis Engine Service. He's taking good care of me with all this stuff and just trying to make sure it's done right. So anyway, so we are going to get started. We'll see you guys in the next bit.